Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Smash 3 podcast. I'm your host, Heezy, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend. Already got more than 50% of the cast into Elite Smash now, the Witch Queen.
How's it going?
I don't know. I didn't get to play against your pit at the bachelor party. I feel like I'm missing out.
Got robbed?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we only get to play offline so much, and I wish that I had gotten to experience the greatness that is the Matt Kling pits.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
We are going to have a really good topic today. I'm really excited for it. It's about kind of taking a moment and opportunities to take a moment, the importance of when you can take a moment, how you take a moment. It's going to be a really fun topic, but before we do that, the point of the show is to be trying to improve at this really hard game called Smash Bros. And Matt, I want to hear about what you did this month, and really the last 2 months because we missed August, to be improving this game.
Yeah, mostly just getting back in the lab more often. Just practicing movement stuff. There are a surprising amount of really tight RAR combos for like every character, so mostly just working on doing IRARs as fast as I possibly can. And yeah, it's really helpful, honestly. Like I really notice when I'm not practicing my movement. Like I will play Zero Suit after not having done any movement practice or like really played Zero Suit very much in the last like little bit, and it just everything feels off. So
Yeah, I actually have the same always improving where I'm getting in the lab, practicing, making sure that I realized that I just could not short hop laser anymore. And it's like you would think that like that wouldn't be like a skill you would lose once you can do it, right? But eventually, I think a lot of it had to do with like playing Greninja for a bunch, where you're just not short hopping that often. You're often full hopping because you don't have a shield, and I just could not get it down. So practicing short hop lasers, practicing just regular RARs. I actually had a really cool game offline where I got to back air like multiple times on a player. I was just that that little bit goes such a long way, especially for things that like you're dropping that you feel like you should be able to do. It is impressive that like just setting aside like 30 minutes almost can fix like force you to fix your issue because it's a lot harder to fix it in game, I think.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean everything just gets exponentially harder in games, so you have to have everything down so much. I mean, and I think it was really eye-opening for me when I was listening to the interview that MKLeo did with Sonics, and he was saying that he practices movement for half an hour every single day. And like, if somebody that's that good still does that every day, like it's something that everybody needs to do.
Yeah. That's going to do it for always improving. Leave a comment on the YouTube video. Let us know what you've been doing to be improving at Smash lately. This week, this month, there's not going to be a. I'm not going to open up the Discord to this coming Thursday. I am celebrating 10 years of constructive criticism, and I have to fill up. I'm doing interviews with every co-host who's ever been on the show, including Matt Kling here. And I need the time to both edit and record those. So there won't be Smash this month, but hopefully that we'll get back to it in October.
10 years is a massive achievement. That's awesome.
Isn't that weird?
That's just wild to me. Yeah, I remember when it started, and it just doesn't feel like 10 years.
Yeah, it seems so crazy. Once again, we're doing this for the Heezy and Media YouTube channel. Once we hit 1,000 subs, we're going to give away a Nintendo Switch and Smash. Heck, if it takes us till the new Smash comes out with the new Switch 2 or whatever, we'll do that too. But leave a subscribe on the YouTubes so that we can let you enter that contest. Now let's take a moment, Matt, to talk about taking a moment. What do I mean by this, Matt? What do I mean take a moment?
To me, taking a moment just means kind of making like taking a mental reset moment. Like Oftentimes you'll find yourself in a game where things just aren't going well, and like you basically have two options at that point. You can either play tilted, or you can just try to decompress a bit. And finding moments to decompress is basically the topic of this show.
How do you how do you think this helps you? Like, how do you? We use the word tilt a lot, which is like a poker term, and I don't know if like I think it's becoming pretty casual use in gaming. But like, what do we mean by like things aren't going well? You're tilted. Like, what does that mean?
I mean, I think everybody's been on the receiving end of a beating where you just feel like you can't hit your opponent. Everything that they're doing is landing. And it's just it gets frustrating sometimes. You like feel like there's nothing you can do, or like another example could be like an interaction doesn't work the way you think it does, and you get punished for it, or your opponent does something that you assume should be unsafe on shield, but either you've mistimed it or it's less unsafe than you thought it was, and
Yeah.
those things can be frustrating, which is basically the concept of tilt.
Yeah, I know for me that like when things are not going the way that I want, or when I am on the receiving end of like not getting hit and everything's landing for my opponent, I start taking risks that are not actually the way that are going to win me the game. Like that's the truth is that's not the way that's going to fix it. It's going to be figuring something out, right? And I think that taking a moment and collecting yourself is the way that you can be like, okay, what is working, what isn't working, and what is working and what isn't working for my opponent, and having just like just any amount of time to reflect on that is really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just outlined the side effect of tilt, which is that you just start going for mono hard reads, or just like fishing for kill moves because you're like, I need to take the stock now,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah, and when is it that you think that you can take that moment where you can collect yourself? Smash is a really fast game. Like, there's not a lot of opportunities for this. So, like, how do you find them?
I mean, I'm privileged. I play Zero Suit, so I can take that moment whenever I feel like it. Like, if I just want to run away, nobody's going to catch me for a minute. But in general, I would say that I'm going to start by saying what the worst time to take that moment is that people often use, which is when your opponent is on the Angel platform. That is a bad time to take a moment. Um, and I think that you see this honestly at every level of play. Like you see people like doing their wave landings on a platform or whatever, trying to get themselves psyched up, and then they just get wrecked for it. I can't tell you, especially like for a character that's actually fast. Like, I mean, with Zero Suit, I punish people off of my Angel platform so often, it's actually bizarre. But good times to take a moment, though. You can take a moment on your own Angel platform. I don't personally love that because you are using up time that you are given by the game for free. Like, you get to do whatever you want off the Angel plat, and your opponent really can't punish you in most matchups. But yeah, I think that as much as it is privileged to be able to play Zero Suit and be able to just take that moment at any time, I do think that most characters can just like slow things down and back off for a little bit. You're pretty unlikely. It's pretty unlikely that you're playing a game where your opponent is just only approaching and you can't prevent that. So like just backing off for a second, your opponent is probably not going to run straight into you, so you'll have a second to collect yourself in that way.
Yeah, I think that I really like your point about, at least this is something that happens to me a lot, is like taking a moment like to decompress while after killing my opponent, be like, all right, what do I need to do next? Like, what's the next piece? And man, does Matt punish me for that all the time, folks. And I think that on the reverse, though, like when I am taking a moment on the decompress, I honestly don't always feel like the Angel Plat is even enough time anyway to like actually have that reflection that you need. And to me, like taking moments. I mean, we had a game. What brought this up is Matt and I actually had a game where I was getting my butt kicked, and I just was like decided to slow the game down, take a moment, and completely altered the game And I think that one thing that happens with Matt's talking about when you're taking that moment yourself, maybe you're like, let's say you're playing like Lucina or something, and you're just kind of like bobbing and weaving and throwing out safe hitboxes when your opponent approaches, and just thinking as that's happening. One of the other thing that's happening here is you're changing your play that you and your opponent also needs to now think about adjusting to that in real time while you're having that thought process. So multiple things are happening there. One, you're taking the moment for yourself. Two, your opponent's like, okay, do I need to be the one approaching now? How can I approach it while they're playing like this? And it's multi-layered. It's not just you running away and deciding, okay, how am I going to kill them next? It's, okay, the game's now slowed down. We're playing at a different tempo, and your opponent also has to adjust to that tempo.
Yeah, definitely.
The one thing that we didn't mention is between games. And I feel like some players are really good at this. If you like watch Smash, where some people like will lose and they'll be like, run it back, run it back, run it back, and others will be like take a minute, like give me a second, like let me think for a minute. And it's always interesting to me. I sent Matt a screenshot. I think that went viral in the Smash community just like this week of Rocket League. And they have this thing where they're like, hey, it looks like you've lost like 15 games in a row. We're actually not going to let you queue up right now. Like, it's not a good time for you.
It did seem like it was a thing where you could just ignore it. Like they had an option to just like, I don't care about this on the text box. But I do think that, even just having an in-game reminder that just is like, hey, you're probably just tilted right now, and you're most likely going to lose your next game if you keep going.
Yeah. And I think that
it's really helpful.
Like we've all been there where like we just want run it back. Like I know what I did wrong. Like let's go. Rather than taking a moment to be like, okay, I got dumpstered or whatever. Like taking that just that second. I don't know. I think that there's some value in like I don't remember the specific Smash rules, but I do believe that you get X amount of time. Both between rounds and between games, and you that is your time to take. Like I think that we play other games, Matt, and I wanted to talk about kind of like other games versus Smash and fighting games, and how different it is in fighting games to like be able to find those moments. What you've played competitive Halo, you've played competitive. Magic the Gathering, like how do other games compare to Smash in finding those opportunities to kind of decompress?
I mean, in Halo that really wasn't a thing, but you would get some downtime between matches or between games, but not like a ton. But I don't know. I mean, obviously for Magic, you get. They do tell you how much time you have to sideboard if you needed a moment in game. As far as like between rounds, there are a lot more time between rounds in Magic than there is in Smash, generally speaking. I guess that being said, I've never made a deep winners run. It seems like sometimes they have like an hour between matches.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I think that Proto Banham is probably the best example of somebody that's really good at taking time between games. Like honestly, win or lose, tilted or not, he will just take the full amount of time between games. I don't know what the allotted time is, but he'll just be sitting there for like 2 minutes at least.
Yeah, it's totally fair. I mean, I think about Magic when it comes to this a lot. Like, I'm a big proponent of like, taking the time that's yours, and in Smash you only get so much of that time that's yours. It's so fast. There's so much happening, and there's let's be honest. Like if you're getting dumpstered in Smash, there can be lots of things going wrong for you. It might not just be as simple as one thing, and that's why I said that you should also focus on the things that are working. So like and if you need to adopt like a new playstyle or strategy into the moment, I think so often people just like, and I've fallen victim to this where you like lose and you're like, all right, well let's give them the secondary, see if they can handle that too, and then your set's over. Like that's it. That was the whole game. You didn't take time to think about the things that you did well. You just lost and you switched off of your character, and you're forced into both like adapting to the character while trying to force them to adapt to the character. And if you put in the effort to like take the time to, I don't know, think about what's going on in the game, you might be able to make adjustments that are a little bit better. And something that I've noticed, in our recent tournaments is like I have not gotten 2-0'd at a tournament since deciding to like not just always switch to my secondary. I think that's valuable.
Yeah, I agree. It's game one doesn't dictate how the set's going to go. Sometimes it's something you can just adjust to. As far as like this actually kind of segues into something that I have been thinking about recently. One thing that I will do when I am taking a moment in a game is if I'm losing really badly, one thing I will do is I'll hyperfixate on one particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm sure that this isn't like a good top level strategy, but like at my level, this actually lets me beat players that are quite a bit better than me. I will notice one move that they're going for, even if it's not even a habit. Just like, okay, this person has gone for this move in this spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep playing the game, trying to make that exact move look good, and then punish it. And that's the only thing I'm focusing on in this game right now, is trying not to get hit by other things, waiting till they throw out this move, and then doing whatever I have planned against it. And that works surprisingly well. So
And that is the definition of taking a moment, right? You're I mean, that's kind of the point, right? The point of taking that moment and the point of decompressing is to narrow down what's happening and to focus on a thing rather than getting beaten by 5 things. And I think that's a really good point. So how do we use this? I'll go first. It's something that I try to get better at. I had a match at Crown where I won game 1. My opponent switched to Mega Man. I think it was Mega Man, and I did not take the time. Like I did not take the time to decompress and like think about like, okay, what happened here. I just kind of ran it back, and since then, we had a set at a local where I SD'd I think twice and was able to bring it back by taking a moment after that second SD where I it was really just a deep breathing thing. It wasn't even like what's going right or what's going wrong because things were going well. It was like, hey, like you can do this, just focus and don't think about what's happened. You can only control what's going forward. And that's a little bit different than what we've talked about, but like it can be as simple as that to make this happen. And then I'm a huge fan between games of just like thinking about like, okay, what was working, what wasn't working, how did I die? Do I have a plan for what's happening? What about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there. Like a lot of the value of taking a moment is also just calming yourself. But yeah, I guess I kind of explained how I use this already with my last little segment, which was just like, if I notice that my opponent is objectively playing better than me, it's, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go as far as to say cheese them, but like I will consider, let's just take an easy example. Okay, most Samuses, when they get up from ledge, will have a pretty flowcharty method. They'll either get up and shield and then try to shield grab you, or they'll do get up attack and then try to shield grab you, or they'll just do neutral get up and try to grab you. And like those are the 3 variations of like get up grab that Samuses love to do from ledge. And if I notice that I am losing really badly, but I also notice that this person has gone for this at least once in the game, my new game plan is literally just to stand next to them on the ledge and try to bait out either get up attack, get up shield, or neutral get up. And then when they throw out the grab, I just jump over it and try to punish it with whatever I think is the best option, depending on percent and whatever. But that really works very well, I think, even at like pretty high level. I don't know if I would say that that would work at top level or even like, at a regional or whatever, but I think that most players aren't so varied in their play that you'll never get that punish. And if you can make that punish count for enough, then you can make up for a lot of losing neutrals and things like that.
How do you think? What's so interesting about this is like for some players they might need to take that moment to think about what are the ledge options that my opponent has been taking. And what you're saying is you're watching. You're doing it premeditated, right? Like you're doing this before, like you're watching for it for the first couple times, and then whenever you can adjusting.
Yeah, I mean that's always happening. That's more of a I mean ledge trapping is just it's the simplest version of predicting what your opponent is going to do in the
Right.
game. So like it's just habit for me now to watch ledge options because uh, people tend to have the same flowcharts as everybody else. Honestly, when it comes to ledge options, like I was just explaining to you the other day that like every time that I get a jump read with zero suit, because like by far the best ledge option against zero suit is to jump get up off of ledge. So like oftentimes I will start out by maybe I'll test it first with like a down smash to see if they do a neutral get up because some people just don't know about zero suits, ledge trapping. And then after that, if they've shown me that they're going to go for jump off ledge most of the time, I'll just do a preemptive back air in that spot because buffered ledge jump is the normal option. And if you hit that, the next time they will be off stage. Usually it won't kill. They'll get back to ledge, and like almost always the next ledge option is roll, which you can just massively punish.
Yeah.
So like that is my ledge trapping flowchart, and it works really often if you can actually get the jump read.
You know.
But
Oh, go ahead.
but beyond that, like I will watch if somebody has ledge options that they often go for. Like that's just something to keep a mental note of. But I think that this thing that I'm talking about isn't even like that was just an example, like the Samus thing. Like you can look for, oh, this person is fishing for back airs or whatever, like so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dash forward and then like jump backwards with an aerial or whatever to try to bait out their back air and then hit them.
You
And
know.
like if you just hyperfixate on one part of the game, I think not only does it get your like adaptation like going in your mind of how to beat what your opponent is doing, but like you will just win those particular neutral interactions. Like if you're like, okay, the only thing I want to do is beat my opponent's back air here, you will probably be able to do that.
Right. What I love about this too is that it's doing those real time adjustments, but it's doing it in the same vein that taking a moment narrows things down for you. So it's compiling. If you're doing both, right? If you're reducing the problem at the same time as you are taking that moment, makes both of them easier.
Yep.
Um, how do you know when you need to do this? Like, how do you know I need to take a moment?
I mean, it's not always obvious, and like certainly I've played games where I probably could have used the moment and didn't take it. But most of the time, I would say like if you just find yourself losing and you know that it's because uh, either you're unfamiliar with an interaction or like your opponent is just out neutraling you, then that's the best time to take a moment and try to figure out what you're going to do about it.
Yeah, I was thinking about. I was playing against the a Lucas online the other day. We played quite a few games together, and it's funny because there are certain types of characters that are going to be really, really aggressive, and so finding the opportunity and noticing like for example, I'm really bad against like hyper aggressive play. Like it really throws me off. And so taking a moment to me in those spots is like forcing myself to slow down the game, like forcing myself to like do that. And I know that I'm going to do that when I'm feeling anxious during a game while I'm getting attacked, and I mean like physical, like chest pain, like anxiety, like oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, like having a fight or flight reflex. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, this is just a game. I'm not actually gonna like get hit off of a ledge and burst into red dust. Like that's actually not what's happening. But instead, like for me, it's okay. Why am I feeling this way? Okay, it's because I'm playing this game and my opponent's being really aggressive. What can I do to make them be less aggressive or punish them for their aggressiveness? And that's how I know when I need to do it, or when I'm just really flustered, which for me happens when I'm like complaining about a move or a character, and I'm like, yeah, that's when I'm like, all right, you need to like focus on what you're doing. No John's, buddy, just like get in there.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is going to do it for the main topic. I wanted to take some time to. It's been a while since we podcasted. I wanted to talk about the final shrine because we didn't get to talk about it. Or maybe we did, actually. Maybe that was the last thing we talked about. I'm trying to remember. But there are a couple tournaments. There was Shine, then there was Terra. Let's talk about Terra, actually. Because I think this is a really interesting world that we live in now in Smash, where we, from tournament perspective, Matt, do you like it better where we're at, where there's 10 people or more that could win any given tournament, or do you miss the dominance of Leo?
Well, I think that I am in the minority here, but I hate the underdog story. I love it when the GOAT is just beating people forever. I think a lot of the reason that I like it is because it shows what can be done with hard work and talent.
It has to be the tournament favorite one Terra, right? Like, it's kind of hard, right? Like, who's the underdog in that? Tweak or Cluedo?
Well, my point is just that like I like to have a definitive like this person is going to win this tournament 75% of the time or whatever.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think Akola is probably that right now. It's just a little bit harder to get that every week because he doesn't go to as much as Leo was when he was going, or at least not.
He's a child of Japan, and
yeah. At least it's not as many in the U.S.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like I think a lot of people expected Spargo to become that, and it's just hard to be that, man. Like, I've been watching Smash tournaments for. Oh man, it's been like 6 years now, for a while, and the only times it's happened a couple times, right? Like we had Hungry Box's total dominance in my time watching Melee, and then we had the most insane run by Leo, probably. Like, it's just actually unbelievable. But I don't know, man. I find that it is so interesting to watch, something like Terra where I had no idea who was going to win that top 8. No idea. And it was anyone's game. And it was anyone's game up till like the last moment, right? Like until you get into this last hit situation. And I don't know. I find that interesting.
Yeah, I also find that interesting to an extent as well. I just like, and I understand. Like I said, I understand I'm in the minority there, but like that's just my preference.
Let's talk about Watch the Throne. What is this? Is this what we need? Is this the thing that's going to bring Tournament Smash back to the top? Is the content creators putting on a summit-like event?
Yeah, I mean, I think all content is good. So like, it's honestly not unprecedented for the actual players and content creators of a game to keep it alive through their own things. So
have you read the list of players so far?
I haven't.
I'm going to give them to you. We've got Gluttony, Bloom, Ikola, Protoban, Tweak, Light, Spargo, and NK Leo were the invited players. So we have, some of the major regions, Gluttony and Bloom, Ikola and Proto. Light and Tweak, Spargo, and Kaleo. Then from SmashCon, to Buzz and is it Maya or Mia?
I think it's Maya.
Is it Maya?
Mm-hmm.
Qualified. So now we've got all three of the top three players, right? Spargo, Akola, and actually we might have the entire top five.
I'm actually not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head who 3 through 5 are. I know it's Akala and then Spargo.
It's then Maya.
Okay, Maya. Yeah, I should have probably remembered that.
Yeah, I think it's Tweak next. Oh no, it's Sonic's next. So Sonic's is the one missing.
Ah.
You know what? Why does Sonic's always get the short end of these things? He's never invited to
honestly,
any of this stuff.
I will say, like, if we were doing it region based, I mean, I guess they just don't have any South America representatives in there, do they?
No.
But
come on, how we doing? That's the last topic. I want to talk about this.
I guess my point is that, like, I think that, you know, Leo is getting the invite here just for being a fan favorite more than anything at the moment. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of. Like, I would much rather Leo be there than not, but I would also really love to have Sonics there. So
yeah, I feel like Sonics is getting robbed here, and I don't like that.
But I mean, if you need 2 players from Europe, like, I think you could argue for Sonics over Bloom, but like, if you need 2 European players, then that doesn't really work. So who else would you invite him over? Like, it has to be like Sparko or Leo, and it's, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough.
Certainly not going to be Spargo at the moment, and like I said, I think that.
Well, let's hope that he just wins Let's Make Moves Miami or something.
Does it have to be a win, or can it be?
It's the highest placing non-qualified player at Let's Make Moves and point priority 8th, and then a currently unannounced major, and then there will be players voted in, but he's never going to get voted in. So
yeah, unfortunately. That feels pretty real, though, for him to be the highest finishing player not invited. Because if we look at the invited players list, like, how many players is he losing to that aren't on that list already? Like, there's Zomba, and
yeah, it's got to be like I don't know if Riddles.
He's lost a couple to Riddles, yeah.
Mudace, Meister. It depends on if Kurama comes back and starts playing again. Although I guess I don't know what their set count is.
I mean, I would say Sonic's is favored against any of those people, though. So it's
yeah.
I think he's by far the most like assuming that he's going to things and cares about this. Like, he seems like the most likely player to qualify based on, you know, the people that are already qualified.
That's fair. That's gonna do it for the Train Talk segment. If you want to find me, you can find me at Spencer H. You can find the podcast at Smash3Pod. You can find Matt at The Witchling. We are both in the Heezy and Media Discord. We're gonna do watch parties for some of these tournaments, because like you and I already want to watch, let people in to watch with us. You can follow Heezy and Media, like, comment, and subscribe, and then don't forget that we're looking for sponsors. If you want to sponsor the podcast, even if it's just for one episode, let us know. We are a top 15 Smash podcast, as we've been told. So thank you guys so much, and don't forget to always be improving so that you can smash through.